Yes. Good evening, everybody, wherever you are in the world. So this message is a message directly to the IO supporters. And the message is about the Dinka people, directly to the Dinka people. But it's about sending message directly to all the IO supporters, wherever they are. This is my own opinion. Some people may get angry, some people may like it, some people may say whatever it is. What I want everybody to understand is simple, you know. Myself, I come from a culture whereby justice, equality, and freedom for all is taught to me. Okay, taught to me from my father's side, and also taught to me from my mother's side. So my grandmother had children with a man called Messiah, who's from Agar. So some of my grandmother's children are from Agar area. So that's why there's a lot of confusion. Oh, Jal, you're from here and some there. Okay, they could be my brothers from Agar area first, because my father stayed in Tony and I was born in Tony. So my biological father is from Tony. And probably I have my other brothers there in Tony that I never know where they are now. But I have a message directly going to IO. The thing is, you have to understand, we should learn from a story. There's a man called Kulang, and Kulang is a very wise person, but also known as a very greedy person, or they call him a chamjesh person. But there's so much wisdom you can learn from Kulang. When Kulang was put in prison, he was arrested during that time. And then when he was arrested, he was fined with a number of cows. And when his wife came to visit him, and he told his wife, let me tell you about this idea of Akuma or Kuma or government. It says it's a bunch of smart people that has power and figure out a way to take people property and justify it. They eat other people things. So they're taxing people. And these smart people have a structure in which they eat people in the name of saying they're bringing a new system. They're going to protect you. They're going to give you right. And they're going to give development. But that's what the government is all about. And so that's what President Kiir is about. So President Kiir, he's the leader of the system. And in that system that he has created, personally, I would say he has tarnished the name of Dinka people, like the name of Jiang people. Now, when you walk as a Jiang and every South Sudanese see a Dinka person, even the poor person that is walking on the street, they connect his name to President Kiir, and that poor person is suffering just like us. There's some Dinka who are scared to speak out because of their lives. And they will not speak it. So they'll just go away. They'll just keep quiet. They may not like it. And we've seen from those who spoke out, there was a young man in Juba, who owned a security firm one time. And he was so successful in his business. And because he was successful in his business, he employed thousands of young men. And because he was so successful that he created jobs, even people used to run away from the military to become part of his security company because the guys were getting paid. And he was an entrepreneur, and he happened to be a Dinka. But one day, he decided to speak his mind. And then he was accused that he had started a rebel movement. And he ran to his homeland thinking that his people in the village would protect him, but they never protected him. Guys were paid money, and they handed him to the government official, and he was killed. So I want the IO supporters to understand. I heard some of the songs where they're singing that between me and Dinka, we have no forgiveness, you know? And I think when you listen at that, that cannot be, because an IO, it's a national movement with a national agenda that can bring change to protect all the civilians. So justice and equality and freedom for all should be for all. First, I mentioned that. What is peace in itself? Peace is justice, equality, and freedom for all. Peace is when conflicts are managed in a mature manner, that the violent is prevented. Peace is when the roads are built. Peace when the schools are open. Peace is when the teachers are paid. Peace is when the nurses and the doctors are paid. Peace is when the university teachers, the lecturers are paid and the government give funding for the universities to function properly. Peace is when the policeman on the street is not worried about his salary, that he has to stop a citizen to pay him. I remember a couple of times when I'm driving on my car in Juba, and there was this police lady, and she stopped us. And what she said, look, this is how we survive. We don't have salary. We don't get our payment. And our stress goes back to the citizens. It pained me that I am a police officer that has to stop a citizen, and even though when the citizen have broken the law that I'm supposed to hold, that they have to pay me and allow them to go with the mistake they've made. That is what I have to live with, because I have been trained to keep the law. But now I allow the law to be broken so I can live. And that disturbed me. So we left the police lady with a tip, and he said, this is how it is. So we collect the tip, or we collect the money, and we share it with our general. So us here, we get 30%, and 70% we give it to the boss, and the boss share it with everybody. And she told me, like, we have a number of people we have to stop in a day. And if no one has broken law, we'll figure out to just frame them that they've broken the law. We just say, okay, you did not wipe the mirror, the car, the whatever. And that's how we make sure we hit the target. Now, going to my message about what peace is all about. Peace is when the businessman can operate peacefully and not get arrested. Peace is when normal citizens like us can speak out our mind in the city and not getting harassed or being told you're going to go to Blue House. Peace is conflict management. It's finding a way in which violence can be prevented. Now, the reality is this. On the conscience of many people, the reality is this. Dr. Machar came to Juba empty-handed with no soldiers. A proper Dinka person with a conscience knows that is not right. But he may not come and speak publicly. He may go and speak behind the scene, because once he speaks his truth, he's done. Now we have a system that doesn't spare. At least as a Nuer person, you're lucky. You can speak your head and your people will defend you. But when a Jing person speaks his mind, nobody defend. They call him a traitor and he will be killed. Nobody talking about it. So one of the most powerful tools to control people and rule over people, they say, some of the top people who rule the world said, fear is the #1 policeman. Once you can put fear in people's mind, that they're getting hunted and the consequences of their speech is their life, then you can control. That's what President Kiir's system has done. You've heard about the non-government. What is that all about? Is to silence. Every society has got people, I've got activists, I've got people who are empathize with other people's pain. They're there. But when fear comes, you look at it, how you see how system can divide people. Systems are powerful. And we have got different type of people. You've got a coward. A coward can be recruited by a powerful person, and the coward will boost himself and hurt more people because he knows there's a backup behind. So we have a bunch of cowards in Kiir's system. Then you have the greedy people. the person who likes to eat a lot. He's afraid of hunger. And when they're afraid that they're not going to eat whatever they're going to eat, they'll be recruited by the system to work for them so they can protect their food. You see? And then you've got what is called shamjesh in my culture. A shamjesh has got 3 positions. One, a shamjesh can be a psychopath, a shamjesh can be a narcissist, a shamjesh can be a Machiavellist. Somebody who's its own their personal interests. So we have got people like that. Then the system recruit them to work for them. Now, when I'm talking about this, it hurts me and I find it painful that people can say, generalize all the Dinka people for one person who doesn't have a clear vision. It doesn't have a unified vision for entire citizen to see themselves in what SPLA, what Dr. John Garang built. He doesn't have that. He doesn't have a common purpose that I can align my purpose with, that can make each and every citizen unite themselves with. And President Kiir himself also doesn't have a unified vision that each and every citizen can see themselves with. Now, he has been trusted by God to lead us. And what I can always say is, if you want to know a society, you know them by the type of the leaders they have. Now, if you look at President Kiir is no different with all of us. We're just like him. Because a leader is a reflection of the society. Now, if you think President Kiir is worse, you are 100% worse than President Kiir. Because until each one of us come and speak out the truth in President Kiir, I've not seen any people standing out for the mistake our president did, that Dr. Machar came and he has been accused for creating war and put in a cell. In Dinka principle, when I was in SPLA, there's something called the Mudalamu, Zola Molaleo Mudalum. That's in Arabic. If you have, when you say that Amultale Mudalum, it's a word that each and every young person understand, and they don't like that. They don't like Mudlum. That's the general. You say 99% of young don't like somebody else. Amule Mudlum. So Dr. Machar has been Zalamo. Who is clean in SPLA that hasn't caused any blood? All are fallen. All are fallen short of every person. But the system is built that anytime Dr. Machar wants to stand for himself, if the Machar is that bad, why don't you allow the vote for the citizen to give that opportunity? Let the people go and express themselves on the voting day that I don't want Dr. Machar. You see, now that's the truth. But now, how many Jeng will come and speak out that? They will not, because they're afraid. The same system. The luckiness for a Nuer person, this is the luck we have. And this is the privilege I have from my ancestors, from that when you see injustice, it's in our blood that anywhere there is injustice, you stand and fight. But the difference with Jeng and Nuer is, what a Jeng say, when there is injustice, wait, find a better way to solve it. Can it be done peacefully? Can we talk about it? They have something called concord. The Nuer don't have concord. Oh, you're an asshole. Okay, fine. Let's fight. But the Jeng say, oh, you're an asshole. Okay, wait. If you're an asshole, I'm the only one who will say you're an asshole, but I'll not say it. I'll say, but is there a better way, yani? You know, walk our talk. You know, we're one. That's the difference between Nuer and Dinka. The Dinka would say, okay, what is the better way instead of us fighting? So now you come with a gun and you are angry at a Dinka guy. He can fight you, yes. But for a Dinka to fight you, it means there's no another way. Once a Dinka person saw there's no another way in this situation just to fight, they fight to death. And that's why we have SPLA. When SPLA was formed, when the Jeng saw that These Arabs will destroy us, and there's no way. That's why you find when during SPLA, when you have a whole katiba of Jeng sent to a battlefield, they all die. If 20,000, do you know, like, thousand. So when you're thinking Jeng are coward, I don't believe you, because I was in SPLA. Because you know, once they know there's no way out and this is it, they fight to the last man. Now, I'll give you for an example. Now you're seeing many areas where SPLA is advancing and capturing areas. It's because the soldiers in the battlefield, who mostly right now are Dinka fighting for the government, has really discovered that President Kiir does not have a vision that each and every citizen can feel safe in it. President Kiir does not have a purpose that each and every person is settled on it. They've realized he has no vision for the entire country, just except for his family. That is why they have not been paid their salary for long run. And they say, look, why are we keeping a person in power? You know, if this was John Garang, let me tell you, if this was John Garang, you'd see like it would be a different story. Those men will not desert those heavy weapons and leave it. So what I'm trying to say, if you're going to be out there and fighting, one thing you have to understand is you're not fighting to free Nuer. You're representing the entire South Sudanese who are silent. There are those who are supporting IO in their hearts, but on their mind, they pretend to support Kiir. There's something I learned when we were kids. When we were in Bentiu, and we came to discover how my grandmother survived. My grandmother was a Muslim. So she said, in the day, we are Muslims. At night, we are Christian. I did not understand what, even my mom's name was called Fatuma. Somebody came and told me, your mom name, Muslim name was Fatuma. So in the day, all my aunties are Muslims. So when you go down there, we're Muslim in the day. At night, we pray to Jesus. So what it means, in your heart, you know what is right. But in your mind, you're afraid. So now that's why we have people in the system who probably are hoping maybe IO can bring a difference. Now, but when those IO soldiers will start thinking this is a war between Dinka and Nuer. Now, a normal Dinka who's outside there, who's hoping that they could find freedom in you, will be afraid. They will also be used by Kiir to fight and say, look, I told you, when IO comes to power, we're all going to suffer. All the Dinkas are going to be away. So let's destroy them completely. But we have to go to the point. The point is this. Where is your space as a person? My space is this, and it's always clear. My space is the people. I have no loyalty to an individual leader that, hey, I bow to you as king. No. But I can buy the philosophy. If I can see the philosophy of that leader makes sense, then I can give my life for that person. Or I can strategically align myself to what they want to put forward. I can do that. There's a saying that also allows me to do whatever I do today. There's a saying in Nuer language, they say, one of the lines where they say, a man is respected if they die for what they believe in. Fear no death because it's unification with your ancestors. Which means every young Nuer person, when you are raised as a kid, courage is one thing that they teach to every kid. That as a man, you have to die for your right. So this morning I was talking to one of my childhood friends, and his name is Kani Lija. He's on the government side. I am an activist. So he respects my part and I respect his side. He's from the government side. He's my childhood brother. And he told me, Emmanuel, you have to understand one thing in everything that you do, so that you're not jumping scared around that not someone is going to kidnap you. Now, what is it that you're standing for really? What is the message? What is your truth? You know? Because if you forget your truth, then you're going to live in fear. And he said, I know my truth. I know why I'm on this side. And I give my life to be on this side. But in your message, where are you? You know? Because I was trying to have a conversation, trying to get information. Hey, am I going to get kidnapped? And he said, what are you talking about? What is your truth? That's what he was telling. Because I was planning to go to Juba because there's one person who died, an elder from our community. I wanted to go to Juba and give a surprise. I even bought my ticket. He told me, I will not tell you come or don't come. But I want to say, what is your truth? What is your truth? And in your truth, what wisdom is in your truth? Yeah. And he told me something, a great message. He said, in your truth, when you stand for your truth, it's an enlightenment. And that enlightenment will ignite another life. So in your truth, let's say you got shot, you died in your truth. Behind your truth, a more powerful person will capture that truth of yours and will stand on it and carry the flag forward. And in that truth of yours, no, you're gone, but the truth continue. Another person comes. So you end up building a bridge to freedom or to that destiny. And that's what it's all about. What is your truth? So I'm going to ask you where you are in, wherever you are as a person, what is your truth? Some people right now as we talk about, those who are supporting care completely, who could actually go out in the battlefield, are just protecting the food that they're going to eat. They don't care about South Sudan. And then you have those Nuer in the bush who are fighting now. They're fighting for freedom because they've seen President Kiir is an oppressor. President Kiir take oil from all Nuer area. We have the oil, 100% of the oil that come from the Nuer areas goes to his pocket. Any benefit, even the passport, the money from the passport, the money from the visas, the tax collected from all the revenue goes to him and the family. Nothing is benefiting people. Now to me, I don't like that. My own personal thing that what I don't like President Kiir for is I cannot come to Juba to perform. Look, I'm traveling all over the world except South Sudan. Now, that's good for me to find a better system to come and take him over. If the people are going to vote right now, if there's going to be a system for voting, I'm going to vote for a new government that will come into power so I can go back to my country and perform and not get arrested. But what is the freedom of speech? Didn't our ancestors fight for it? And then didn't I even fight for the freedom of speech, for SPLA to be formed? Why would President Kiir deny all of us the freedom of speech? The right for that seat is for any citizen to think that they can become it. That's what everybody in SPLA fought for. What does it mean to be a freedom fighter? Freedom fighter, the difference between someone who was hijacked the vision and a freedom fighter is a freedom fighter stand up to fight for freedom so everybody can benefit from it. But President Kiir has shown he's not a freedom fighter because now he pocketed the freedom of speech. He pocketed the freedom of speech. And then he's saying that the seat only belonged to him. The guy cannot even function. He cannot even think. He cannot even stand. His entire body is weak and he still want to lose the country. The country is in a weak position right now. What negotiation power does he have? None. So that's why I'm saying all IO supporters, think about it this way. The name of the Dinka has been messed up by this one leader. It does not mean every society is as terrible. Doesn't mean every young person is bad as President Kiir. Dr. John Garang was a Dinka. It's just happening that at this time, if South Sudan is terrible now, it is this generation that are the ones that are terrible. It's this generation that have lost their values. Because if we have our values, if we have like 100 South Sudanese like me that speak their mind on social media that we won't change, then they will be different. But if each one of us speak and then they put a gun on your head and then you forget about your truth, then the system continue. These wars that are happening should have never happened. They should have never happened. Now look at this. I want to show you something. Do you know IO has no salaries, the soldiers who are fighting? IO has no any person who's supplying them with arms to fight. What they have is complete will that they want a better system. And who's the supplier? The government. So they fight the government. You have a villager who comes with a spear or a machete from the village or a stick with a goal to arm himself with the government weapons and bullets. Now, these are people who are 100% in a position to arm themselves because they've seen the world, nobody want to supply them with weapons. The government has all his money to rally every power to destroy them. Why are these people fighting? One of the reasons they're fighting. 80% of the Nuer people have been displaced. They're either living internally, displaced, or they've moved to a different area, or some of them have gone to refugee camp. I have families in the refugee camp. So now, it's a motivation for someone out there to keep in their mind, this government is oppressing us. And you know, I learned something about freedom when we were kids. We used to like beating cats, you know? We used to like beating cats. Long you get the cats, you just chase them, just as kids. So one day, we put this cat, we locked the door in the house, put the cat in a bag, and we started beating that cat in the bag. Jesus. Let the cat he ripped off the bag and came out. Now the cat can see at night. It's scratching everybody. We were screaming in the room. The cat that was running around scared of us, that we put in a bag and we start beating it as a kid, rip off that bag. And because it wanted freedom very much, he scratched the hell of us. We were trying to find out where the door is and we could not find it. And finally, when we got the door, hey, we and the cat were running in a different direction, running for that door. Now, that's what freedom is all about. When someone is looking for freedom, they will fight for it. Myself, I am free outside the world, but I'm not free in my country. How would you expect me to support President Kiir? No. President Kiir has lost vision. And if he's smart, he should step down. Let somebody else sit on that seat. And maybe that person can negotiate a better peace deal with Dr. Machar, that we can have a country that is peaceful. But all the IOs that are out there, just know, as much as we're looking for freedom, most of the Dinka people don't have that freedom. They cannot speak their head. They will not. But also Nuer and Jiang understand this. Jiang has something called Concord. Is there a better way we can resolve this? You know? But a Nuer person will say, hey, you bring me injustice, let's finish it out through the battle. And that has been our history. The Italian came, we fought with them. The British came, the Egyptian came. Any invasion that came to South Sudan, historically, if you look at anthropology, it's in our DNA. The only Nuer that always side with the enemy or the oppressor is the one that is afraid of hunger. We saw Ramulutbal. And the one who always side with the enemy is the one that we call Shamjesh, which is like a Shamjesh is a psycho, Machiavellist, and Shamjesh, Machiavellist, or a psychopath, or a narcissist. That's what we call Shamjesh. And the other person, so we have the one who's scared of hunger, and then the Shamjesh I described out of you. Hunger is both Shamjis I discussed with you, and bot. A bot is a coward. A coward will look at how this enemy that is coming, if it looks so powerful, hey, the coward will betray his people and join. That's what happened in our history. And also the biggest mistake that Nuer make in history, I'll speak in English, then I'll go in Nuer. The biggest mistake they always make is, when leaders are brought together, the biggest mistake Nuer bring, they bring a fool to lead them. Somebody we call Doar in Tongnora, Doar. So they take a fool to go and sit around the other leaders. And you know, where and how that comes about is, it come about in the village, they say, Doara, Linya Pelpelun. Which means, that's how they go in the village. Which means, our fool is better than your wise man. So our fool is wiser than your wisest people. And that's how they go to hunt. So when they bring their door, even their door is walking like this, they go and hunt with their door. And then if the door, you know how they always do is when they're trying to there's something called mai, where you go and catch the fish. So someone will set up for the door a fish, and then when he throw his spear, I got it, and he brings it out. And then now when people go home, the door in the village is celebrated, oh, he got the fish. But it was a setup. Now, so when Nuer bring their fools to be a leader, and you take your fool to go and sit around the wisest people in the place, the fool is just being fooled around. The big check come around, he's given something small he eats. And then he goes back home, oh, ngankor. There's nothing he's going to give his people. You know? Because that's how, in the modern world now, people are trained how to be smart, how to outsmart other people, how to strategize, how to organize, how to plan. But the pool has no plan. Now, we need to change that system. We need to bring people who are smart and wise, who understand the system. So when they are put in the system, it's not just about them going to think about themselves. They bring their wise men. But for the Dinka, they bring their fool and their wise men together. So you can say, Nuer, they only bring their fool. And that's why we don't benefit. Let me give you an example. Do you know the $5 billion that was lost, that went through corruption? Okay, let me show what happened. 2,000 companies were put. Those 2,000 companies, do you know where they came from? They came all the way from Barkazal. And all of them came with amazing proposals. They have proposal. And how they did those proposals, each and every proposal, either have a Kenyan, a Ugandan, a white person. And they will show the proposal. They actually go and pitch the proposal of what they're going to do. Then they're given the money. The government did not go and call them, hey, come and take the money. No, that's not what the Dinka guys did. They came with a proposal. Okay, I'm going to provide Dura. I'll provide maize. Okay, I'm going to provide beans. Hey, I'm going to provide shoes. I'm going to provide socks. So those were the wise young boys, the pal. And that's how 2 billion disappeared. There's no way that you'll find Kir just say, hey, here's 5 billion, all the Dinka come and eat. No. Every South Sudanese was allowed to present their proposal. And that's why we had multimillionaires. We have got, during independence, we had 2,000 millionaires. Immediately, 2,000 millionaires in dollars from one area. Only after that, probably after 3-4 years, then there was only maybe 20 millionaires left, because all of that money got lost. Now, same thing. I'll ask you a question. Port Kang became the Minister of Petroleum. Yeah? Now, we can say, you'll decide for yourself, was Port Kang a fool, or was Port Kang a shamjesh, you know, that only benefit himself? You get what I mean? Was he a fool or a pelpel who's benefit himself? Okay. Why? You're in the seat of petroleum. What has he done with that position? Imagine if you give that position to a young person, Minister of Petroleum. What will he do? There will be proposals that will come, thousands, and you can still track that. So now, sometimes we have to look at the system. Who have we put? Okay, who else was given? Angelina was Minister of Petroleum one time. Now, so what I'm trying to say in short is, maybe I've spoken so long. I want to go back to my position. God Mari. Here jang dia lankan jir nakan. Jang ti dwal chika burwai. Jang ti cham je ti nakamiz enken te ka kum te nakana. Ka jang ti boy enken te ka kum te jarat nori. Ka jang ti loth ke bol. So nori ti loth ke bol. Ka jang ti loth ke bol. Ke cham je nora. Kana cham je jani. Kana boy nuora, kana boy jani, enken chardi and mat. Nay to pel to take a bomb, to take a manan can jump away. So I'm going to translate that in Dinka. What I'm saying is, the people who are in power and which are like oppressing right now are the Nuer people who are afraid of hunger, and the young people who are afraid of hunger. Plus, the Nuer psychos and the Dinka psychos and Nuer narcissists and young narcissists and Nuer Machiavellis and young Machiavellis, plus the cowards, the Nuer cowards and the Dinka cowards that have found smart ways to come together, and have power to be able to rinse the country. That's what it's all about. These guys are the one on top who have philosophies. They are the one who are eating the country. And now, that's it. Look at it. Look at it. I have people in the government that I talk to. I don't judge you. When you're in the side of the government and we meet as a friend, we can eat and talk about you. I will not go and tell you, leave your side, because we all have different perception. Anyone in the government right now, because things are going so bad for President Kiir, the top generals, the big ones, are going to be in the battlefield. Where? To protect Bor. They are not protecting Bor. They are protecting their position. They have nightmares. Oh my God. The $10,000, the school fees, the women I used to sleep with, oh, the car, the Hajabari, and my cars and everything are going to disappear. That's what they're protecting. They're protecting that. And then they will lie to you. But also you is outside. You want your freedom. What is it you're going to give to South Sudan? So I want you to change your mind if you're in IO, to start thinking like a national movement. Because if it's a Nuer movement, you're going to lose a lot of support. Because a lot of South Sudanese right now want to be free. One thing that is clear about Dr. Machar, which is one of the greatest as well, I don't know if Machar can develop our country and make our country great, but there's one thing I'm certain about, which is the most important key: freedom of speech, which means each and every citizen, if you are angry, if Machar become president one day, you can speak your head. And politicians are shaped, their thinking is shaped by activists, by those who speak their mind. They collect that data. And that's how they used to know. How do kings know long time ago that they're going wrong? Prophets, musicians, activists. Those are the people. If the musicians are singing, oh, Anataban, Pelet ka mafimela na benum fogu, bolis bedu kuna se kid. No, what does that mean? Then the king hears, oh, Anataban, oh. Then the king will listen Jesus. Call that musician. They call that musician, they have dinner, and then that's how you get formation. What policies do I need to put in place? But nowadays, you sing Anataban, the next day you're gone. So everybody, peace is you. Have a great time.